game too. This is another divisional tilt in the NFC. This is the NFC East. Cowboys upset the Commanders. Even before this week, we were looking at that spread. Like, isn't that crazy? The Commanders are double-digit favorites. Wow. All that's crazy. And the Cowboys win straight up in Washington and actually kind of like controlled a good chunk of this game until things got crazy at the end. Where do you want to start? Do you want to go with the onside kick return? Do you want to go with Turbin kickoff return? Do you want to go with the kind of Hail Mary-ish Terry McLaurin catch and run? We got a lot going on. Several block kicks and punts.
The Hail Mary. Jordan Lewis just went to sleep on that play. I don't know what he was like looking at, because all he had to do was just like step back, maybe two steps, and that would have been a pick where he was running the other way. But I think he just gave way too much credence to what was happening, like as far as the swing route in the backfield. I was like, okay, dude, let him throw it. If they're gonna throw a swing route in that situation, that's fine. Yeah, you go up and you make a tackle and you keep getting to the end of the game. But just fell asleep, and then for Terry McLaurin to run 60 yards with the ball in his hands, like as the game's ending untouched. Like, come on, have some pride. And then right after that, the onside kick gets returned for a touchdown, which honestly had me throwing up, because I was like, dude, you got what you needed when they missed the extra point. So you're still up by 1. All you have to do is just lay on the ball and end the game, and saw glory. Especially when you see that team hit 2 Hail Marys like in the course of a few weeks, I'm not giving them a third. I am not giving them a third. But that game was just stupid towards the end. Like all chaos broke out. Just all chaos broke out. And it wasn't even really like resembling anything that was close to an organized football game by the time it was over. I think there was a point where there were 3 touchdowns in the span of 3 game minutes or something like that, with the onside kick and the kick return and the touchdowns before that. Yeah, just a really sloppy game. But Cowboys defense should feel pretty good about how they played for the most part.
You had some third down stats about them last week, or going into this game, about how kind of this was kind of be a big part of this game. Far as the Commanders were really, really killing it on third down up until the last few weeks, and then the Cowboys defense, who we were high on, now with Micah Parsons back, that third down defense looks a lot better, and it showed up definitely today. The Cowboys, before this is when they went down 11, the Commanders did, and before chaos kind of started happening, I looked up the stat because I thought the game was over, and then stuff happened, and I did not want to look up the stat again because I was like, that was not football. That was NFL blitz. Just what happened there. The Cowboys blitzed Jayden Daniels on 12 dropbacks, 7 pressures, 1 sack. He went 4 of 11 for 28 yards, and they got him with the same one over and over. It was Micah Parsons they have Micah Parsons a bunch lined up as defensive tackle, over one of the guards. And I think that's just really interesting. I thought he was going to be one of the stand-up guys when Zimmer does his little double mug looks, and he's been having him as defensive tackle. So I was like, I'm going to find how many snaps. Thank you, Next Gen Stats. I can find how many snaps he's done it this year. 46 snaps at defensive tackle this year. Last year he had 90 all the entire season. So I think that's just a little interesting because they kept getting him. It was Overshown, the linebacker, would run in. He would ear hole the guard. Osa Odigizua would loop around, and then Micah Parsons would beat the guard inside. And they just created internal pressure just over and over, like the same look. And it was this is what you get a little worried with Cliff's offenses. Is they had a tell every time they go in empty. They would do the little chip help thing, where it's quote unquote empty, but then Austin Eckler is next to the left tackle and chipping. And so every time they did it, the Cowboys ran the same blitz against it because they just they had they caught them, they had a tell on it all. They got out of it late in the game, but that's where you get worried with some of the Cliff stuff, is that once he's a little slow to adjust mid game, and he didn't adjust until once the game was out of hand, really, and then got back in hand and then out of hand again and then back in hand again. And then the other thing was the Commanders defense kind of reared its ugly head. They barely pressured Cooper Rush. They only pressured him 6 times on 33 dropbacks, 1 sack, 0 scrambles, and the Cowboys were missing Tyler Smith and Zach Martin. So that's kind of just very concerning for a Commanders team that wants to make a push. Rico Dowdle, 10 of 19 runs were successful, only got stuffed once, which is a gain of 0 or negative yards. So the Cowboys offense, who had backup guards in there, has a rookie center. just steamrolled the Commanders' defensive front. So yeah, that's just not kind of what you want. But yeah, that was.
I thought Beebe had a nice game from what I saw on the broadcast. And we were talking last week about the third downs like going into this game.
That was your main point. It was huge.
And so now that we have this is the third game that Micah Parsons has been back. The Commanders were 1 for 7 on 3rd and long attempts today. So that puts them at 2 for the last 18. And the Cowboys defense is now 1 for the last 15 on 3rd and longs. So
since Parsons been back,
since Parsons has gotten back, which is I want it's almost like having him on the field matters again. Like,
right, actually, really helps. It really helps to have this guy, and he's playing so hard too. So I know. Remember, we just complained last week about how many defenses and teams are quitting, and like Micah Parsons, like I didn't hear that bell. Like he just goes, man. He like takes every play as a challenge. Dude, the Cowboys defense helped. Like I was looking at some of the stuff on True Media. So this was the second lowest success rate for the Commanders this year, lowest explosive pass rate, lowest EPA per play. Their second lowest was last week against the Eagles. Their third lowest was the week before that against the Steelers. So not the trend you want to be going on. And this was we thought the Cowboys defense was improving, but still thought that maybe Commanders would have answers in this game. So yeah, they kind of had their number today. Even that Cooper Rush offense with all those rainbow throws over the middle. Oh my God, they made it work. The offensive line took care of business.